everyone, today I thought I'd play Pac-Land. It was one of my favourite arcade games back in the day, probably still is to this day. I played it a lot in the arcades back in 1984 and had some of the best graphics I think I'd seen at the time. Very cartoon-like and I think way ahead of its time. The reason I chose to play this today was another YouTube user by the name of MainFan. He records playthroughs of all the old arcade games. Check out his channel, he's got absolutely hundreds of games on there. And he played this last week, but as it wasn't a familiar game with him, there are a number of hidden secrets within it, which is why I thought I'd run through it today, see how far I can get on one credit and see if I can show some of those hidden secrets. So let's just get into it. If we look at the actual arcade machine, as you can see, it's got buttons. Now apparently Pac-Land machines had buttons as a standard, but I never actually saw one with buttons. I always saw them with joysticks, always played it with a joystick, and I find it very comfortable to play with joystick, and other people prefer buttons, but yeah, no, I'm definitely a joystick person. As this is a multi-machine, the joysticks that Pac-Land use aren't the ones I have on this machine, and they don't work so well with the game, so I will be using buttons. So I'm not very good with buttons, as I said before, so I'll just see how I get on. So the hidden secrets I'll talk through during the game as much as possible, but I'll probably put something in the comments about it because it is a lot to actually go into and I couldn't possibly say it all in the time. So let's jump into the game. It starts off relatively easy, and the first little trick, jump on top of the hydrants and it will release the fruits for that round. Just gives you a few extra points. Nice and easy to do at this stage, but probably not worth trying it on the later stages. Now, as in Pac-Man, you get power pellets, which allows you to eat the ghosts. Now, the first hidden secret, and you can use this throughout the game, is when you eat a power pellet, the fifth ghost you want to eat is the timer ghost, which is the hatless ghost. That's Sue. So I'll have three ghosts here. That's 1, 2, 3. There's Sue. 4. Eat a fifth. It'll give you the L pack. It's a lucky pack. It'll replenish your time with a bonus. So pushable objects. Gives you a hard hat on the first round. That means you don't get killed by the dropping ghosts. In fact, you can collect them for points. Makes your journey through that a little bit safer as well. You can also use them to eat and they count towards your 5 ghosts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Got to be the fifth. Now when you reach break time, if you jump at the right place, you can get a maximum 7,650 bonus. For round 2, the pushable object, you need to have 10,000 points or more at the end of the first round. Now it's going to be the second one in this stage. The first one is the cactus there. The second one is a large tree stump. And as long as you don't die, you can use the pushable object. As soon as you die, you lose it. So there's the second one. This will warp me straight to trip 3 with a huge points bonus. Now this is a tricky stage, which is very easy to lose a life. In fact, that's the pushable object. I'm going to abort on that one. I aren't 5 this time, so we won't be able to get it that time. So pushable objects on the round 2 of each trip is temporary invisibility. It's going to be the 4th object in here. It will be given in every game. So that's 2, 3, and there's the 4th. So it is temporary, so do watch out. It will warn you when it's about to wear off. It's very easy to get carried away. There's the warning. 1, 2, no, there's not going to be 5. Now I do find that with emulation, the buttons aren't quite as responsive as they need to be, especially on this game. It really does only affect this game. Now, on this particular level, you can actually skip the clouds by just jumping straight onto the rocks. But under emulation, I find that the buttons aren't responsive enough, so when you hit the jump, sometimes it doesn't happen and you end up falling straight down below. So I tend to not try it. It is possible, it can be done, but it's just a lot more trickier than when you're actually using a physical arcade machine. I don't know why, it's definitely emulation. I've tried this on numerous machines with different controllers, all with the same problem. Do it on an arcade, it's no problem at all. There we go. So when you reach the end of round 3, you'll release the fairy. The mother fairy will give you some magic boots to return home, and the magic boots will allow you to just literally fly, so you can just jump as much as you like. Again, very easy to get carried away and die. And the boots will last as long as your timer's in play. Once your timer runs out, the boots disappear. You don't die, but soon will come after you. Now I wouldn't recommend point pressing like I'm doing here if this is your first time on the level. Can be a bit dangerous, but it does have its rewards. So that should have been the pushable object, but it's not for some reason. On round 4, if you get the pushable object, you'll get a bunch of balloons, of which one of them's worth 7,650 points. So trip 4, I don't bother with the pushable object on here because it's quite manic. In fact, from this point on, it is a little bit manic. There's a couple of other little tricks you can do, as well as get killed very easily. And that's one of them. Now you can jump up. And don't run into the ghosts on pogo sticks. Again, something I have much more control over when I'm using a joystick and not buttons. So the next round, there's no pushable objects because you're now going to go through a castle which is like a maze. Keys open the doors, but you can actually get through it most of the time without even using the doors. And again, with emulation, you can jump down and straight back up again. In the arcade you can. With emulation, again, it just doesn't work. In fact, I've never actually done it on emulation at all. So as you can see, most of the time you can avoid, once you know the route through, you don't actually need the keys. I think I've only used one. So round 3, there is no pushable objects anyway. And this one is a little bit tricky. The water, you can use it to push you up, but it will also suck you down. So I do tend to avoid it as much as possible, because I tend to get caught up in it. Now round 4 of trip 4, and of trip 1 as well, which obviously I skip, there is an S-Pack which gives you a free life if you collect it. I've never quite sussed out, I used to know how to get it on here. You basically need to clip a certain point, and when you do, it releases the S-Pack. But when you die, you won't get it anyway. So I won't get it, unfortunately. It would appear around about there. Quit falling around now. Trick 5 is where it does get really tricky. I never remember how many objects are on this, so I don't remember where. And there's a rarity, the little Galaxian. I've missed it, but if you collect the Galaxian, that'll give you 7650 points as well. And I also hate it when that happens. So on here, it is really tricky because there's a springboard here and you have to use it. If you don't get the jump right, you won't make it across the water. So we've now got another rock round, which again, I would be able to just jump straight onto the rocks. In fact, there is a round later on, I can't remember the trick, where there are no clouds, so you have no choice but to jump the rocks. You never reached it on emulation anyway, but it would obviously be a bit tricky. Yeah, this is easy in the arcade, you just jump straight over all this, no time wasting. Okay, we're about to go into another castle maze. This time, we can't see where we're going. So each one we really need to know the route. So it will be invisible. Well, not invisible, but dark, as you can see. Well, that's where the jumping comes in handy. Strangely enough, it looked like I did it there. That may well be the first time ever. I missed it again. So on the trip home on this round, on this trip, it's basically against the clock. Don't do what I'm about to do and point press if this is the first time you've ever reached this round, but you literally need to run home because you will run out of time. Not too many ghosts to contend with, but lots of, there's not a lot of time, but you will, if you point press here, you will get quite a lot of points. But I would say don't do it on your first time because you're going to run out of time. Find out how many points can be gained by collecting the cherries. So you can see I'm running out of time now. So yeah, time is gone. So Sue is going to be after me. Here she comes. Couldn't quite get the power pellet. The power pellet is the only saviour on that. So trip 6 on emulation is about as far as I can get. The next round after this one. In the arcade I can get to about trip 8. Probably can't now, but... is as far as my ship sails, I'm sure. And there we go. So yeah, I'll put something about the hidden secrets in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed that, and thanks for watching.